Ankit, are you there? Start with Aditya.
Yes, I'm having overall 7 years of experience, and I'm exploring Azure actually. I previously worked on Python, so this is my expectations from the course. Thank you.
Ahmad.
Yeah, hi. I worked in 3.5 to 4 years in non-IT experience I have. And right now I'm working in government sector, which is earning low pay scale, and I'm planning to switch it to IT. That's about me.
Okay, got it. And Irshad. Irshad, are you there? And Damodar.
Hey, hi Ganesh. Good evening. Uh, I have 6 years of experience in data analytics. Mainly I'm using Power BI and SQL for creating, reports. And in the backend, I'm working in a SQL server. Currently, it's been a 3 years. I've been researching on Azure. I've been hearing, Azure engineer. So I'm be researching on it, and so I'm looking forward to learn in detail concepts in Azure, each and everything from scratch to end. That's what my expectation. And I want you to address about how, if in case if I change my career from data analytics to Azure data engineering, how the market will be in the future, and how my career will secure in it. So I just want to hear it from you. If you can address me, that will be helpful.
Sure. By end of the session, we'll discuss about that as well after the technical discussion. I mean, after the demo class today. And I'll start with Shiva. Shiva, can you brief about yourself?
Yeah, hi Ganesh. Is my voice is audible?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, go ahead.
I have total 4.1 years of experience in IT industry, and my technologies like previously I worked as a big data engineer in Cognizant, and my skill set are Hadoop, Hive, Scoop, and I have basics on PySpark and Azure Data Engineering. I'm expecting from your end is how, as Damodar said, how future will be useful for this course and how many years.
Okay, your voice is bit breaking. Yeah, but yeah, we understood your requirement. And so I'll go with Ujjwal. Ujjwal Das. Yeah, Yogesh, you can go ahead.
Okay, is everyone done with the introduction?
Yeah, almost.
Okay, yeah. Thank you all for joining this session, and it's good to know about your experiences and good to know about your expectations. And yeah, I'll start with my introduction. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so I have 17 years of strong IT experience, 8 years into the big data technologies and Azure data platform. I have strong experience into like different industries, that is banking, finance, automotive, healthcare, telecom, e-learning. So I have worked on like many industries and have strong IT experience as well as strong data architect role as well, or Azure data platform experience. I have played like these different roles, product manager, scrum master, and the Azure data technology architect role. So within that, I have worked on Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Explorer, and there is a new tool from Microsoft, which is Microsoft Fabric, which is combination of all these independent services under the one umbrella. Then I have experience into Azure DevOps, Azure PowerShell, ARM templates. So this is basically for implementing the CI/CD within the Azure ecosystem. And as part of the data governance, I have experience into Microsoft Purview tool. So where we'll have the data access policies, the data catalog, all those features which are part of the data governance will be under the Microsoft Purview. So I have broader experience into the data science, data engineering part, the data governance part. So I'm working like 8 years into these technologies. And apart from that, I have also worked on the Azure ML Studio, Azure SQL Database, ADLS Gen 2, and like many other Azure services. And the important factor is the integration between all these services. So which is the key thing as a data engineer or as a data scientist when you will work within any live project. Coming to like your expectations, and the part of this course which we will deliver is basically the DP203 certification, which is data engineering on Microsoft Azure, which consists of the designing and implementing the data storage strategies, the data processing part, and how to secure the data, how to monitor the data pipelines, how to optimize the data pipelines or the data processing part, how to optimize the data storage as well. So all these will be the like key topics as part of this course. And if you are going to or planning to attempt this exam, it will be like around 180 minutes. It will have like number of questions ranging between 40 to 60. So it will be a random number generated for different people or different candidate. And the points that you need to get is like 700 out of 1000 points, and the weightage will be different for each question. So the types of questions that it will have is like multiple choice question, arranging the right sequence, which is drag and drop between the options. Then you will have the drop down options to select this correct answer from that. Then you will have true false answers. So case study based questions. So there is no labs and no language specific questions, but there will be SQL related information or code there will be, but no language specific as such you need to write any code there. So these will be various types of questions, and the exam will be of 180 minutes, and the points that you need is 700. Each question will have different weightage, and number of questions which will be generated for different candidates will be different, which will be ranging from 40 to 60. So coming to the Azure services that we will learn as part of this course are Azure Data Factory, Azure Storage Account, Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, ADLS Gen 2, Azure Databricks. So Azure Data Factory, basically it's an ETL tool. So you will be doing like extract, transform and load or data copy activities using the Azure Data Factory, or data processing part you will be doing using Azure Data Factory. So it contains a component called as data flows. So when we will learn through this course is we will learn the service, the components and the different parts of the service, what is the use of that service, how to use that service, and then how to configure that service efficiently. So all those things we will be learning for these Azure services as part of this course. So Azure Storage Account and ADLS Gen 2 are basically for storing the like different types of data. So that also we will learn the types of data. For example, I'll go through that details in upcoming slides. Then we will have Azure Databricks, which is mainly used for again data processing part, where you will write PySpark code or Scala code, or you will also write Spark SQL queries, which are nothing but similar to the normal SQL queries. So it will involve the introduction of this service, how to configure the service, how to run like basic jobs within it using these types of languages. Azure Synapse Analytics, it's very big topic again, and it contains again, you can consider Synapse Analytics is a combination of Data Factory and Databricks. So you will have option to perform the ETL operations or data copy or data movement options, and as well as the data processing options combined into a single service. So it is called as Synapse Analytics. So it is combination of ADF and Databricks, you can say. Then stream analytics and EventHub basically are used for the streaming data. So in rare cases, like around 5 to 10%, you will be working on these services depending on the project. But mainly, like most of the 90% projects that you will have are related to the Synapse Analytics, Databricks, Storage Account, Data Factory. So all these projects are related to mostly relational databases or the batch processing of the data. It is not related to the streaming related. Very few use cases where you will have the IoT databases or IoT devices, then only you will be using the stream analytics or event hubs. So major focus will be on these services, and we will also learn the introduction and the uses of these services, how to configure these services. So as part of this course, these services will be covered. So programming skills as part of data engineer would be required, like SQL, Python, and Scala. And some of you already mentioned that you are good and good familiar with these languages. Like someone is good at Python, someone is good at SQL, someone is working as like data analytics. So we will be also looking at the various data roles which are involved into the big data analytic projects. So that slide also I will show in upcoming slides. We will also learn the modern data warehouse, the architecture patterns which are there, the lakehouse architecture, the star schema. So these are the design data warehouse design patterns, star schema, snowflake schema. So these will be also covered as part of this course. So you need to be patient, like the syllabus is very huge, and you need to go through the understanding of the architecture. You need to go understanding with the programming skills. You need to learn the Azure services. So the course duration will be also little bit huge, and the services that we will learn, the architecture patterns, the technologies, and the theoretical part, practical part that we will learn will be also consuming a lot of time. So you have to be patient while you will be planning to do this certification and learning this end to end. So what consists of as a Azure data engineer is like understanding of the Azure cloud services, understanding of types of data. So if you see right now, till now, in the industry, all are like relational databases, which are also called as structured data, which is in the form of columns and rows. Then we have another type of data that is called as JSON and XML, which is called as semi-structured, which will have like key paired value or tags within that structure. So these are called as semi-structured data types. So as a data engineer, you need to understand when you are copying data or processing data, what is the type of data that I need to process. So that's why these understanding types of data is also important. Then format of the data, for example, is it CSV file, is it Excel file, or is it XML, JSON file, or Parquet file? So there are n number of files which are types of formats of data storage are there. Delta tables are there. So all those will be also part of when you consider as a data engineer, you need to think of types of data and format of the data. Then third type, which is the unstructured data, which is type of reviews and comments that you will see, product related reviews that you will see on the Amazon products, or the comments that you see on the blog. So this is kind of raw natural language. So where it will perform like kind of things like natural language processing, or the recent one like generative AI related machine learning algorithms that you will perform on these unstructured data types, which are kind of product reviews or comments provided on the blogs, or it can be anything that is available as part of the business use case. So as we also discussed about the storage strategies. So when you are dealing with big data, you need to understand how to store that data within the Azure ecosystem, how to process the data, which services to be used, and how to configure these services, how to configure the data security options, how to encrypt the data if it is required to do that. This is a new thing which was not there previously into this certification, which is the data governance part. That is the Microsoft Purview related thing. Then the data visualization, as one of you are like data analytics, you are performing the role of Power BI reporting. So when you will work as a data visualization engineer, you will not know the back end of these things like the data storage, data processing part. What is the my use case, from where the data is coming? So when you will transit your like role from the data analytics to data engineer, your main role will be like understanding the types of data, format of the data, how to store the data, how to process the data. So for processing, which services you will use, for example, Synapse Analytics, Databricks, or Azure Data Factory, or you will, and which languages you will use. So that all things will come into play when you will play a role of Azure Data Engineer. So when you are performing a role of data analytics, I like performing role of creating the Power BI reports, you will be, your main focus is just getting the data and creating the like queries to generate the report only. But you are not aware of like what is happening in the back end. You are just focused on this role only. So when you will transit your role from the analytics to the data engineer, you will learn all these things, and which will be a good thing, and then gradually you will move to the data architect role. So that will surely help you to migrate your current career to the data engineer. So it will be helpful for everyone who is trying to transit from the current role to the like data engineer role. So there is a lot of scope, because if you see like most of the data is on-prem, and there will be like many projects where you will be having requirement of copying the on-prem data into the cloud, designing these Azure services, how to implement the configuration of these services, how to do the data processing within the cloud once you bring the data from the on-prem to the cloud. So there are n number of projects we will be having for as a Azure data engineer. So as part of this course, we will also cover the basics of Azure Cloud, the hierarchy within the Azure Cloud, which will be the like management group, subscriptions, resource group, and how to create resources. And as I mentioned, we'll be learning about the types of data. So as a data engineer, you will be performing the role of data ingestion, bringing the data from on-prem to cloud or cloud to cloud, then processing the data, then performing the transformations within the data security aspects, how to who should have like which access. So all those things will be also part of data security, the encryption of the data when it is stored, when it is in transit, how to encrypt the data. So that is part of data security, which we will be learning when we will go through this course. And the services that we already seen is the various services, ADF, Synapse, Databricks, Stream Analytics, EventHubs. So those also we will learn as part of this course. So as a data engineer, you will have these key responsibilities, which is data ingestion, integration of various data sources. So I'll just add one more slide to explain this. So in an organization, you will have like data spread across multiple cloud systems, on-prem data. So within this also, you will have like different data sources like Azure SQL, the SQL Server, Oracle database, Teradata. You will be having like mainframe data as well. So which are using like different banking domains will be using the mainframe data. So a number of data sources will be there. Then you will have the file systems or the servers where the data will be stored in CSV, XML, or Excel format, or normal TXT files. So that's the reason as a data engineer, you need to understand what are my data sources, where is my data stored, and in which format the data is stored. Then you need to decide the implementation part of it. So you'll bring this data into cloud. So within the cloud, Azure ecosystem, you will have the Azure storage account. So we will see the difference between storage account and then ADLS Gen 2, the Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 account. So which is like advanced version of the storage account. In some cases, you will have the like audio files for processing, video files. So those will be part of like non-structured data. So structured data, you will have rows and columns like within the SQL Server, or all the relational databases that we have will have the structure as rows and columns, which is also there in CSV Excel format. You can process like audio video files using these Azure services as well. So in some projects you may have requirement of storing these things or PDF files as well. So a number of file formats, the types of the data which we need to consider as a data engineer, and then the storage strategies. So you will also have option of the Azure Synapse to store and then process. Then you will have option of Azure SQL DB. You will have the Azure SQL database. So all these storage types you will consider while implementing the storage strategy. And then you will have the in between, when you are doing the data copy activity, you will be using the Azure Data Factory to bring all the data into the cloud. So that's what the data ingestion, the first part that we are seeing here as a data engineer key responsibilities. That is the one thing. So this is how you will design the architecture, and then you will be implementing at each stage. In some cases, you will just have the projects to bring this data from different systems to the Azure ecosystem. So that's how the things will change, or the use cases will be n number of use cases. So it depends on in which organization you are, which domain you are, and what is the business goal of your project. So it will be like end-to-end project of implementing these strategies, or there can be also you'll be using Azure Databricks for machine learning. So you'll be using this for data processing, or for machine learning, you will be using the Databricks. So this is how you will implement the structure, and you will play different roles within the end-to-end life cycle of these big data projects. Once this is done, again, you will push the data to, let's say, storage systems again, for example, again, ADLS Gen 2, or again, you will push that data to Azure SQL or any other downstream data sources that you have. You will push that data after doing the processing of that data. And from here, you may be also using the data for the visualization, for reporting, that is through Power BI. And at each stage, you will be also considering the data access, who should have which access within the storage account, who should be provided which access. Then we will also have the different environments, dev, UAT, and prod, then how to do the deployments of the things, the infrastructure, as well as the code that you will develop within these services. So this is how the end-to-end cycle it will look like. At each stage you will be working, some may be working like from just bringing the data from on-prem to cloud, some may be involved into the Databricks side of machine learning or data processing part, some will be working within the Synapse. So again, Synapse is having data processing capabilities as well as data factory capabilities as well as ADLS Gen 2 capabilities. So it is a combination of three services that we can say, and it is also having like data warehouse. So it is very big topic to learn as part of this course, which we will do a detailed understanding of each components of Synapse. So there are like serverless SQL pools are there, and then the dedicated SQL pools are there, which is nothing but the SQL data warehouse. So it is a combination of like multiple different services, Azure Synapse Analytics. And then you will be processing data, implementing this end-to-end life cycle. Your goal may be different depending on your project requirement. So there are like a number of wider opportunities when you will be playing the role of data engineer. It's not just a single use case that you will have. Within once you bring the data within the cloud, also you will have regular projects which require this data engineering role to implement these, maintain these things, the data pipelines or the data processing part, improvements into the existing data processing capabilities, implementing new machine learning related projects or use cases, implementing AI related use cases. So it will involve a number of capabilities or probabilities of having the job within the market for this role. So it is not just bound to a single use case. And there, as you are seeing that many industries are using the multi-cloud setup as well. So some will have AWS and Google. So you have to connect from Azure Data Factory or different sources to different cloud systems and bring that data within the Azure ecosystem, bring your on-prem data to the Azure ecosystem. So that is first challenging part. And once you bring that data, what actions or business transformations that you need to do is you will work with the business analyst to understand what data transformations are required, and based on that you will be performing those transformations either within Databricks, ADF or Synapse Analytics. And at the end, once you process all that data, you will pass on to the another downstream systems, or you will process or store that data within the existing Azure services like ADLS Gen 2 or SQL database. Then you may require the Power BI part as well for visualization, or you will connect to another web UI or anything that you have in your project. So that's how you will be part of end-to-end life cycle of the big data analytics project. So from processing part, you may push this data to a web UI as well as a REST API. So there can be a number of possibilities depending on the project use case or business use case. So you will be involved in like, sometimes you may be involved in like small scale at specific area within it, or if you are interested and you are doing good work, you can move across all the life cycle of this project, and you can work on different services like Databricks for, you can write PySpark code or Scala code for implementing ML related algorithms. That also you can do. Some of you may only focus on Power BI, but if you focus on the data engineer, you will learn all these things. So that's what, when you are working as a data engineer, the data ingestion part, integration of various data sources. So that's what we were looking at this diagram. Multiple SQL Server, Oracle, Teradata. So if you see, there are around 100 to 200 data sources are there which ADF can connect to. So when you will work in any project, like any of the project will have some of these data sources on-prem. So in that case, you need to bring that data to the cloud. So there is again possibility, if you see for these data sources, 100 to 200 data sources are there. You can find that. I'll share that link also where ADF can connect to. So Sybase is there, Sybase database is there, then SAP is there. So n number of use cases are there where you can use these Azure services. So that's what this part is there, integration of various data sources from the Azure Data Factory. Then consolidate data from various resources. So that's what we are looking here. So uh, organizations will, let's say, have SQL Server, Sybase database, mainframe. Then you need to bring all that data into one single storage for implementing the required business transformations onto that. So that's how you will bring that data from multiple heterogeneous systems into different formats into Azure ecosystem. That's what the consolidation of data from various sources will come into picture. So once you are bringing that data, which Azure services, you need to choose how to manage that data storage, how to use the storage configurations for that. That also we will learn here. Then manage data pipeline performance and storage performance. So that's what the optimization part as part of the certification will come into here. So here, when you are building the data pipelines from Azure Data Factory, so these are called as data pipelines because you are moving the data from one location to another location. In between, you are doing the data processing part or the data transformation part. So these are called data pipelines. So this pipeline should not break. So daily you may have jobs running on day-to-day basis. Some jobs are hourly basis as well. So you need to monitor the jobs and see that it should not break. If it breaks, you should have the plan to fix those errors or issues. So that's how the projects will be continuously going on. There will not be any stop of these kind of projects. So it will be a continuous activity, ongoing activity of implementing the data engineering or data analytics projects. So that's where you will play around the data pipeline performance fine tuning and the storage fine tuning. And as I mentioned, monitoring the data pipeline. So you need to uh, create alerts. If the pipeline fails, you should create alerts to send email to the respective teams that this pipeline is failing. Please look into this. So kind of custom email or the native emails also you need to send. So alert and monitoring is also part of this course. Then data reliability. So whatever data you are copying should be reliable to be used by the further systems. Either it can be for ML project or either it can be for visualization. So when you are bringing the data into the required storage, that should be reliable to be used by the business for different use cases. So as a data engineer, you will also play that role. And then, as I mentioned, security. So who should have which access on which data? So that also you need to consider when you are working as a Azure data engineer. So in some cases that may be designed by the data architect and you will just contribute or you will give your inputs to the data architect on specific services or your specialized area. But as part of the certification, you should know this also while implementing the data services or the Azure ecosystem. And then the security aspect, again, data encryption, the customer managed key or the platform managed key. So it is mainly used on, let's say, the, for example, banking related domain or the government specific domains or army related data is there, where the security is very key thing. So in that case, you will be your focus will be on data encryption. You, again, it depends on the industry and domain where you are playing this role. So in some cases, this may not be required thing, but in some cases like banking domain, army related projects, or healthcare domain related projects where data security is important, then you need to consider the access as well as the data encryption part. So data at rest encryption it is called as, and then data in transit. So when the data is flowing between from on-prem to cloud and within the cloud ecosystem, how the data should be secured. So that also you need to focus while implementing the data pipelines or the data storage strategies or data transformation strategies. And then this, as we discussed, the end-to-end architecture. So in some cases, the data architect will bring all these things, or he will contribute along with the data architect to implement the end-to-end solution. So this is the important factor. And there are like different roles in big data. So as a data engineer, you will be mainly focusing on designing, developing, and managing the data pipelines that, as I explained in this previous slide. And the skill set required that also we have seen is the Python, Scala, SQL. Then there are like other open source are there, Apache Airflow is there, Apache Nifi is there. But within Azure and within AWS GCP, there will be different set of services will be there. So within Azure, we have these services that we discussed: Azure Data Factory, Databricks, Synapse Analytics, which we will be mainly using for implementing like data engineering related solutions. Data architect, he will be mainly involved in the strategies part, integration between the services, the different systems that the client might be having, how to integrate these things. So that plan and design and implement, and then he will be working along with you to implement this end-to-end solution for a single business use case. Data analyst, like as you are already performing, one of you, like you will be generating the reports visualization. So either you will be using Python, or you will be using Tableau or Power BI, different tools which are available in the industry. You will be mainly working on the SQL part for creating the visualizations or reports. Data scientist will be applying the machine learning models, building ML models and predictive insights. So for each role, the different like skill set and duties will be different. So this person will be mainly focusing on the ML related algorithms. He should be familiar with supervised machine learning algorithm, unsupervised machine learning algorithms, then the mathematical part, that is statistics, and then the coding part as well. He should be also aware of data processing part, and he should be also domain expertise, or he will work with the business domain expertise for that. So each role will have different skill set requirements and then the key duties for it. AI engineer will be mainly having the like key technologies, natural language processing or computer vision, which is used for image processing. So here NLP, computer vision, it will integrate those with the research related things as well. So here the technologies again, or the skill set you will see is different: TensorFlow, PyTorch, and a number of things are coming in the market. A recent one is the generative AI. So again, these are things like evolving, and many roles are open there. So you can play from in some projects you may be playing like multiple roles. It will be overlap between these roles, or you will be just focusing on single key duties for you. But as a data engineer, it is better to understand where you fit exactly and what others are doing. So that's also we are seeing as part of this slide. And then ML engineer will be deploying, he will be mainly focusing on the ML ops part, machine learning operations part. Once you, the data scientists, develop that machine learning algorithms, how to deploy that into the production. So that will be done by the ML engineer. So he will be kind of DevOps kind of engineer. So if you see within the big data analytics, there are a number of possibilities with respect to different role sets as well. Any question from anyone? So we'll be learning all these things as part of this course, and the approach will be like theory. So theory for uh, giving the explanation about the concepts, what is the purpose of that service, how to configure that service, and then the practical part also we will see as part of this course. And we will be doing the interview related preparations as well. So theory will be useful for understanding the concept and as well as for the interview purpose. And the practicals will be to like give you insights how the services work, how to configure these services, how to do the actual job processing. So that will give the like actual practical implementation of the Azure services. And then you will be, it's better you practice that from your end, but I'll be showing the demos of each one of these things. So that's how we will be focusing on this project, that the course theory, which we will use for concepts plus certification preparation if you are doing that, and then the interview preparation. So that will be the, And as I mentioned, you have to be patient because it's very big course. The technologies are many, the concepts are many, services are many here. And then practicals we will be doing just to make sure that you understand how to use these services, how the real-time jobs will be there, means real-time work will be there. So that will give you like understanding about the real-time work when you will be going to any project, what will be your actual work. So that's how we will be going through this course. We can take the questions now if anyone is having.
May I know the course duration in hours?
It's around 25 to 30 hours.
Okay.
Any prerequisite for this, because someone is good at Python and someone is good at SQL, but the people who don't have any skills in SQL and Python, is there any required skills previously with a short day?
It's better to learn SQL as well, because as a data engineer, most of the time in real-time projects also you will be doing the query. You will be running the queries, complex queries.
Yeah, okay. So better to good with SQL and then we start the coaching.
No,
Right?
it's not like that, but when you will be going into actual projects, again, it depends on which role you are there. So you, for example, you may be just using Azure Data Factory to do the ETL operation. So in that case, you will not require the SQL. But when you are working on Azure Databricks, you will surely need the SQL query.
Yeah.
So it is better to have, but again, when you get placed into specific project on specific role, it will depend on that, what will be the requirement.
Yeah, that's
In
why if we are not good at these skills, so we will be far behind that along with the courses. Means if we are parallelly, we can't able to reach this.
it's better
Whatever
to
what the
have
content
like
is getting.
basics or intermediate knowledge of these things. Scala
Yeah.
also, it depends on where you fit exactly. If you are working on Databricks and Synapse notebooks, then only you will need these things.
If we don't know which course we'll get and enter into the corporate, because we
Which
need to good all these
organization,
things.
which project, and then which role, it will depend on that. So even though you learn everything, you may not use all these services as well.
Yes, 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 of course.
So you will get fit into like specific role or with key duties as we were discussing. So data sources will be also different. So you do not need to understand like what is SQL Server columns. You should be able to integrate with it and bring that data from there to Azure ecosystem. So you should be good with configuration or integration between the services. So if you are just working on Power BI, it's better to have again SQL knowledge to generate the reports. If you are working on Databricks, it's better to have like PySpark and then SQL knowledge, Scala knowledge. And again, what your organization or your project is using, that depends as well. So it is better to have all these skill sets depending on the project and the role placement. You will play the different roles.
Yeah, sure.
And how is the market now? Looks like there are no much calls in data analytics and data engineering. I
No,
can
as
see.
no, there are roles available for Azure Data Engineer, but overall market itself is not good. It's not specific to this data engineering skill set. The overall like IT market itself is not much good.
Yeah.
But this will explore the like it will open the doors for the multiple opportunities. At least you will have some interview calls when you do this data engineering thing. And again, there is a new tool from Microsoft, which is like just a very new tool, that is Microsoft Fabric. So
Yeah,
all
in
all
that,
all
yeah, in that it is a combination of everything, as you
eh,
mentioned,
yes,
Synapse, Power BI, and
it
data
is
lake.
having
Yeah,
data factory, it is having, so all these things are under single umbrella. Machine learning studio as well, data science part. So these are the current architectures that we seen here. So it depends again on project where which services are required. So Microsoft Fabric brings all these services under single umbrella. Even it is having Power BI, data science related part, real-time data analytics, the stream data analytics, batch processing, everything it is having. But this is new tool which will take some time to set down in the market, like around 6 months to 2 years timeline.
yeah,
But till the time, all these projects will be there. And then the migration projects will come from here to Microsoft Fabric, how you will migrate your existing systems. So for Microsoft Fabric, all these technologies will be kind of base for you. It will be kind of foundation for Microsoft Fabric. And since it's a new tool, it will have its own limitations as well, which, for example, ADF provides some of the key features which may not be there in Microsoft Fabric. So that can also happen, or that is also there.
yeah. We can consider that it like, if in case if I wanna give example, previously we have MSBI, SSIS, SSAS, and SSIS. Three
Yeah,
are there. At
yeah.
Power BI, it is like a combination of everything. And the Microsoft Fabric is like a combination of data pipelines, I mean, ADF and Synapse and data lakes. So we can consider that like it, right?
Yes, it is combination of all. Let
Yeah.
me see if I have slide, I'll show that as well. I'll just find that architecture. So this is the Microsoft Fabric architecture. It is having data factory, the Synapse data engineering part, then the data warehouse part, data science related part, real-time analytics, Power BI, and then the storage is called as one lake within the Fabric architecture. So here we in the current architecture, we might be using ADLH Gen 2, Azure SQL, n number of different sources. Here it will be single one lake. And all these engines in between that will be able to access the one lake data directly. So everything will be in one place. That's a new enterprise tool actually. So that is also there, that diagram. Again, it is also multi-cloud.
Okay.
So if you see data warehouse, it will have T-SQL, then data engineering, data integration, you will use Spark engines. So underneath, you will have the data in one single format stored on one lake storage. Then for real-time analytics, you will be using Kusto query language, KQL. And then for BI services, you will have analytics analysis services as well. And then you can connect to different clouds as well from one lake. You will be creating kind of concept called as shortcuts from one lake to these. So it will be kind of bringing that data directly here, like within the one lake in the single storage location for processing purpose. So that concept is called as shortcut. So it's first multi-cloud data lake. So you can directly access Amazon or Google data within one lake. You can process it immediately using these things again, any of the engines which are serverless compute again. Any other question from anyone? So that's a DP 600 certification for Microsoft Fabric. So within Databricks, you can also use JDBC, ODBC. These options are also available within ADF, within Synapse. Any question anyone is having?
No.
Aditya,
Okay.
Ishap, and Damodar, Rajesh, any questions?
I'm good.
Aditya?
Yeah, currently I'm also thinking, should I increase my knowledge in AWS or should I learn Azure as well? This is creating a little bit of confusion in my mind. So, could you please help me? Because I
Right
previously worked
now,
on
hmm.
AWS for 2 years.
So you can use the AWS big data services as well, but this will open the doors for multiple opportunities. So again, gradually in upcoming years, like kind of enterprise architect, like will have like more experience. They will have experience into Azure, GCP as well as AWS. So that may immediately will not get help from when you learn these technologies or different cloud systems, but gradually in the career ladder, you'll be kind of enterprise solution architect. So you'll be giving the option which cloud to select. So even if you learn the Azure now, the existing one will not go west. You can use that later on in your career ladder.
Okay.
So the people having experience around 20 years or more than that, they will be more familiar with all the cloud ecosystems. And when there will be like new requirements from the clients, they will be providing the solutioning part, architecture part, and then they will be providing the pros and cons of each cloud providers. And based on that, they will take the decision which cloud provider is good for the organization. So that will be again decision level part, which you will be playing as architect or solution enterprise solution architect. So
Okay.
that
What
will
is
show.
the
Hmm.
just curious actually, what is the minimum years of experience is required to get into that architect level position? Because I have seen people who is having 8 years of experience or 9 years of experience, then they move into directly to the architect level. So what do you think about it right now
Those will be
generally?
data architect roles actually. Those won't be kind of solution architect or enterprise architect. So it's between around more than 15 to 20 years of experience will be kind of enterprise solution architect role. Data architect, yeah, you can, if you have worked, let's say 5 to 8 years into data engineering, data processing, you can become the data architect. because you'll be more familiar with big data and then the cloud ecosystem, processing big data, all those things, the design patterns, the architecture patterns you will learn. Then you will be providing the data architect related solutions to the, or you will be giving inputs to the enterprise solution person or to the clients. So sometimes the roles will overlap, or gradually you will move to like different higher level roles as your experience grows.
Okay. Are you working in UBS?
No, I'll tell separately. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So-
Rajesh, any questions from your end? So if you don't have questions, then we can wind up for now. And I'll call you one by one tomorrow. We can have a discussion about the course and other stuff as well. And we are going to start the batch within this week. So probably from like Wednesday in the mornings. I'll talk to other persons and let in the timings as well. Thank you. Thank you, Yogesh. Thanks for your time.
Thank you all.
Thanks for your time.